All righty. So we have Dr. Rye. She is the owner and founder of Go Sky. I always get it wrong, Chai or Kai Chiropractic?
Hi. So it's just
Kai.
Skyline Chiropractic is the name
Skyline
of
Chiropractic. Okay, cool. Her website is
it.
goskykai.com.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So, Rye, what were some of the challenges that you were facing with your previous website that made you realize that it was maybe time for a change?
Um, well, we've had numerous different website companies, and I feel like with all of them, the biggest struggles were finding people that didn't understand chiropractic. So they wanted our website to be all about SEO, and it was SEO that wasn't driven by like our ideal client. So like they heard that you're a chiropractic office and they instantly started making all these web pages and they would tell you like, hey, this is going to drive your SEO up, but it was all about like back pain and like decompression, other modalities, and they would just list all this stuff. And I was like, we don't even do any of that. Like, I am a preconception, prenatal, and pediatric office. So none of those things were relevant to me. So I was paying them lots and lots of money to basically steer the wrong patients toward me. And not only was it tough on the front end that way to get a website that we actually liked, not just in like aesthetics, because I feel like there's lots of good website designers out there that can make things pretty, but to get a website that was actually representative of our practice and that actually drove the types of patients that we wanted to see into our doors.
You are like the perfect interviewee because my next question was, how was your outdated website or your old website affecting your ability to attract ideal clients or patients? But you just answered that beautifully. So, can you share what your practice goals were when you started looking for a new website?
Yes, we didn't know much about where we wanted to be in the digital space, so I feel like it's really hard to shop for things like a website when you don't know what you don't know. So our biggest thing that we were looking for was how do we create our home in our digital space, the thing that we own, which is our website at this point, because we had like a website and social media. So how do we create the space that we own and make it like our office, like make it somewhere that felt like home. And so that's was really our main driving point behind it. Obviously, like as we interviewed other, I guess, service providers, they, would suggest all of these different things. I already mentioned SEO, but they would suggest, oh, we need this on your back end and we need to be able to drive here and we need these plugins, all way over my head, things I didn't really care about. But I was like, I want to know that you know what you're doing because it's not my job to know about websites. So we were looking for someone that knew what they were doing, felt like they could steer us in a good direction for our practice, even if we didn't know where that direction was going, or if we decided to pivot direction, someone that could pivot with us, and then a place that felt like home.
I love that. I'll never forget the time that we met in person at a business event and you approached me and you were like, I really want to use you, but I am super hesitant because of my experiences in the past. And like, you were just really nervous. And I remember I was like, I'm not going to push you, girl. Like, I'm here when you're ready. Which is a perfect segue into, what made you choose to go with Cherry Picked over the other website companies you interviewed?
Honestly, I think that was really twofold. For one, it was your direct connection to chiropractic. I really loved that most of the website companies we had interviewed were just general service provider website companies. And we had interviewed a couple that were like adjacent to chiropractic. We had not interviewed anyone that was like, hey, look, I've been in an office and I've been in the CA role and I know what people are asking when they come in the door. And so that's the lens that I'm looking at your website through. So that was number one that I felt like was really cool because I feel like in chiropractic in general, there's a lot of people that like to take advantage of our niche because they're like, oh, I know some things about chiropractic. And now all of a sudden I'm a chiropractic marketer. And so we thought that was extremely beneficial that you had like talked to the same patients that we had talked to essentially in lieu of being where you were and where we were, but like you had talked to the same patients. And Two, like you mentioned, like getting to know you as a person. I think in general, when we look at service providers, everyone always wants to know like the person behind the company, but getting to know you as a person helped us really get to know your brand. And so that was really cool that even when you hired people and you brought people on, and even the people that aren't still with you, like I thought they're amazing humans. And so it was fun to like get to work with them, even if it didn't like, even if they're not on your team anymore. But I love working with all of your new team members, your old team members, like everyone just really represented your brand really well and the type of person and like human and communicator that you are.
Wow, right. Thanks. I'm trying not to tear up over here.
You can
Um,
try, you can cry, it's okay.
did you have any hesitations or concerns before you wanted to move forward?
Um, I think the biggest hesitation, if I had to pick out one, I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but like if I had to pick out one, it would be just lack of control by me. Because I feel like when our very, very original website, I did myself and I wanted to do that in case I needed to like make a quick update or if I wanted to add something, I didn't want to have to be at the mercy of someone else. And so I think the biggest like hesitancy was just giving up that control. Um, but once again, like having an being a part of like an actually responsive company, that wasn't something that ended up being an issue because I can shoot you an email and like you'll have updates done so fast. And it's like that was faster than if I would have done it. So it like just made sense after that point.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Because my next follow-up question was if you had any hesitations or concerns, have we addressed them and, kind of taken those fears out of play? So I think the answer to that would be yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into some quantifiable metrics.
Okay.
So what was your average monthly new patient count before the new website, and what is it now?
You should have had me look these up.
It's
Um, um,
you can do averages. It doesn't have to be exact numbers unless you can give me exact numbers. And then also speak to the quality of new patient if you don't mind. So not because it's one thing, in my world, it's very easy to say, oh, I can get you 75, leads, and everybody can get 75 leads. A lead is not a new patient, and it's not a paying new patient. So for
yeah.
me, what I really care about is people are coming in and they're actually signing on to care.
Yeah.
So if you can speak on that, that would be great.
Yeah, so I feel like for our office, I think that was the big difference is that it wasn't necessarily quantity because I think we live in a small enough town and I have a small enough niche that when people Google pediatric chiropractic or pregnancy chiropractic in Chattanooga, they're getting one of three offices, three or four offices. So it's not like we had a ton of like online competition to fight with anyway. So I definitely, instead of quantity, would like to speak to the quality of the new patient because the people that were calling specifically telling us, like I looked at the top three chiropractors when I Googled pediatric chiropractic on Google. I looked up the top three chiropractors. I looked at their websites and yours felt like I should just come see you. Or I really got to know like your family or and I thought that was a really good way of seeing who I wanted to see. We heard lots of variations and we still hear, and I think our website is how old, 3 years old now?
Yeah.
Yeah. We still are constantly hearing I just really loved your website, or wow, I looked at you guys had this many Google reviews. So then I went to your website and I thought, duh, that's exactly where I should be. Just constantly, like it comes back around to, well, I looked at you on Google and even you might have been ranked like sixth, but you had the best website. Or I went here and like I looked at all these other people and I don't know, I just felt like it was easier to call you. All of those things end up coming back to when they looked at our digital footprint. And I say it has to be our website because we don't have a ton of social media. So our digital footprint is mostly our website. So all of the quality, I would say, is astronomically different than it was with our previous website.
Amazing. That is amazing. Okay. So love that. Thank you for sharing. Um, Now I want to get into more result-driven questions. Um, what specific improvements have you seen in your practice since launching the site with me?
Ooh, I have a really, really good one. That this actually just kind of came to fruition like less than 2 months ago. And like I said previously, our website is about 3 years old. But in working with you and our design plan, because of websites that I had liked from because of the way you develop our website in general, we added in a little bit of a change in branding that was like obviously super intentional, but also a very subtle change in branding. So we changed like just a few colors to really give our website some pop to make it a little bit more feminine. So in our case, our colors were like a lot of teals and grays and blues, and we added just a little pop of pink onto our website. And after our new marketing group saw that on our website and then looked at our old brand guide, they were like, oh, no, no, this is a vibe. Like, this is a brand. And so they did what we call like a brand adjustment. So it wasn't really a full rebrand, but they were like, no, this website's a vibe and we need that to translate to everything else on like your digital footprint online. So when they redid our branding, they were like, we have to incorporate like these new colors. We need to incorporate like some of these different fonts, like because this needs to be continuous and it just like it looks so good. And so we need to make it continuous throughout all of your digital items online, period. And so I thought that was really cool because I was like, wow, this really is our voice. Like, where did you get all this information? And they were like, we just pulled it off your website. Like, we just analyzed all of this from your website. And I was like, well, that was really cool. I didn't explain any of that to them. That was just the brand guide that they presented to me. And I was like, cool.
That is really, really cool. It kind of goes to say like a website's not just a website, right? Like it's
Yeah.
literally supposed to be a tool. And I feel like we've successfully done that for you, or we've taken your website space that you didn't really know kind of where you fit into per se, just from earlier, conversation. And
Mhm.
now you have a space and that space is yours. And now you're literally creating an entire brand around it. And that's really cool.
It was
So
very cool.
on to the next question. Has this website supported your bigger vision for your practice and for your goals?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned before, I think my favorite thing is that my website does so much of the work for me. So it in and of itself kind of pre-qualifies people for our office. They look at it and they say, "Oh, this is definitely a place that I fit." I mean, we have people that call our office and I can tell whether they've looked at our website or not because they'll say, oh, like I'm just a random dude with knee pain. And we're like, okay, cool. Did you look at our website? And they go to look at it. I mean, they'll either say like yes or no, or like, no, I just saw you on Google and I looked at your reviews. And I'll just politely tell them like, hey, maybe take a look at our website and see if like you feel like this is a good place for you. And I've had people look at it, call me back and go, um, no, but also this is really cool. And so I also kind of just want to be a part of it because this looks really cool. But like it does so much work for us where I don't have to explain to people who we see and why we see them. Like all of that is all throughout our website. It's in every single page. Like it literally oozes from our website. And to the plus side of that, when it is our ideal client, people look at our website and they go, oh gosh, yeah, of course they see kids. Of course they know all about pregnancy. Like we just get all of these ready-made assumptions because of how congruent our website is. And I could not thank Cherry Picked more for that.
Ah, that is the goal. And I love hearing that. That's great. Two more questions and then we'll wrap things up. Thank you for your time today.
You're very
Um,
welcome.
what surprised you most about how quickly you saw results?
Ooh, um, you know, honestly, I think the biggest surprise for me and the thing that I knew, the time that I knew that this was like the website and I would probably never do it, like have another website, was actually when I had colleagues that were looking at my website going, that's really cool. Can I just copy your website and put it somewhere? And I was like, I mean, that's a Jill question. That's not a me question, but um also sure, I don't know. Like I didn't me not being a website person, I couldn't even see the virality of my website until I had colleagues that were saying, no, that's really good. Like, I really like that. Can I have that? And to know that it wasn't a template, like all of this was built from the cherry picked model was still fascinating to me. That it wasn't just like yeah, she just has a bunch of these websites. I picked the stock one and then we moved on. And like, no, we built this website and we built it so much that other chiropractors were like, can I have that? And so I think that that was really the moment for me that I was like, I don't really know. I mean, in this day and age, I didn't really know what websites were really driving, but I was like, this one must be pretty good because people really like it.
Awesome. And then lastly, if say you were to tell another chiropractor who may be on the fence switching their website or hesitant about working with us, um, what would you tell them?
I think the number one thing I would tell them, which literally goes against the last point I just said, but individuality. Like I said, it's not like you're picking from stock websites, which I feel like people are going to think is a lot of work. And they're going to feel like, why do I have to put this much work into my website? But this front end work leads to amazing back end results and makes your job a lot easier on the back end. I mean, like most things in business, but we don't really think about that with our website. We're like, how many people are really judging us based off our website? It just needs to look good. It just needs to say the words. It just needs to rank high. And it's like, no, if it's really doing its job, it needs to represent you. So, like the individuality, and I can't stress enough, like the cherry picked process of how we came about, like developing this amazing website that felt like us. I mean, yes, in the time it felt like it was kind of overwhelming, right? Like we're in the initial throes, and I remember getting an email from you that said, you don't have to do all of this in one day. Like you can spread this out. It's going to take time. It's okay if you send me bits and pieces. Like, it's okay if we work on it over time. It's okay if this takes weeks. Like, that's a-okay, but it needs to represent what exactly it is that you want. And I think that's the biggest thing that I would share is that like individuality is a huge game changer when it comes to websites. We don't need these stock chiropractic websites that you just churn out 150 of them and they all say the exact same wording, and all we switched out was generic chiropractic name to blah 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 family chiropractic. Like I that's not doing the job and that's not doing your patients justice, but really having an individual website that drives your practice home does so much justice to your patients, your clients, your practice members, whatever you want to call them. They're going to appreciate the weeding out that they have to do based on your website.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And that concludes the interview. So thanks, Rye. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Mm.